Welcoming our Fairfax surrogate, Tosha. Tasha, how are you today?
Good.
Awesome. And Tasha is, of course, a busy mom like all of us, so we won't take too much of her time. But we want to talk about, for this series of our YouTube channel, but what gave you the idea to be a surrogate?
So that actually goes back to me being 16, around 16 to 18, somewhere in there. It's been a long time that I've wanted to. I had a cousin who her and her husband tried for years to get pregnant. She has PCOS, so it was very hard for them to get pregnant. And then when they finally did, the baby had trisomy 18 and TAR syndrome. Just seeing like the emotional, um, like turmoil, I think that's the right word I'm looking for, of like everything they've gone through. And then ultimately, right before we got pregnant with our daughter, we had three different friends who had been trying to conceive since before we had her. So it's like 7 years. They're on their third babies now, two of them, but the one they've done IVF. When they did IVF, they had one embryo that tested out to be good. And they transferred it and it didn't stick. And
So you
being
felt
friends with them.
massive amount of connection. And I'm sure as a mother who's experienced healthy pregnancies and to kind of sit there and know, okay, well, now I'm complete with my family. I'm sure you would want someone to do the same for you, have the heart to open up and give that gift to someone. And, even if it's not someone struggling with infertility or medical conditions, there are people in the world who need the help of someone with a uterus to help grow a baby for them. And they deserve just as much as any of us to have a baby. And I'm so excited for you. How did your husband, when you introduced the idea to becoming a surrogate, how did he respond initially?
He was 110% against it. It was something he was like, no. And I was like, yes, honey.
Well,
And
I love your honesty.
yeah, it took well, my daughter will be 5 and my son just turned 2. It took about 3-4 years to convince him to be on board. And he
Right.
was actually on board when I was initially accepted before he found out we were expecting our third. That's when I finally got him on board. But the possibility of losing the option to have kids of our own, I think really weighed heavy on him.
For your husband to have those concerns is really common that, to want to complete your own family first, because with any pregnancy, of course, there's risks. And that is a very legitimate concern that they have. I've had, women, mothers who reached out and said, I really, really want to do this. My husband's not on board. And I've actually had people ask me, like, how do I convince my husband? And I mean, I don't know what your advice would be. I would love to hear it. My advice is always just kind of like, well, if you have to convince them, let's figure out what's the root of their concerns and see if we can address those first. I mean, what would your advice be to people who are like kind of in that situation? They really want to pursue surrogacy, but maybe their partner is not on board or not quite yet. What would your advice be to them?
Same thing you just said. Especially my husband, we weren't done having a family. So find out like what the number you want to have of kids is. And once you reach that point, then revisit it. We decided we were done after 2. Obviously, that didn't happen. But that's what finally got him on board, is us having our family complete, or so we thought, and now actually complete, to get on board. And it really, I didn't have to convince him at that point.
What are you looking forward to the most about your upcoming journey? Just if there's anything specifically that when I ask that question, what do you picture?
Well, I'm excited that they want to pretty much become family after the journey and keep in touch, and that they are 100% for telling baby or babies how they got into this world and how important I am to their family. Just listening to, I cry every time they talk about becoming parents.
what you're going to create with this family and the gift that you're going to be providing them, it's going to change your life. Tosha, thank you so much for joining me for this YouTube series, and we're looking forward to your upcoming journey with your intended parents, and could not be more grateful that you have trusted us at Fairfax Surrogacy to pursue this surrogacy journey, and we're more than grateful for you. Thank you so much.
No problem.